We'll gather round, feel the love compound. Blue elephant is strong.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So Von Craftor recently sent me their deep pour resin. So that is what this is. I took it out of the box because it was just too big for my table. So what you get in there, you get a couple cups. Now Amazon threw my package, so my cup's cracked, unfortunately. You get detailed instructions on how to use it. You get some scrapers, you get some mixing sticks, you get gloves, and then you get two big bottles of part A and one of part B. Now, this is a 2-to-1 ratio by volume, not weight. So, what we are going to use today is we're going to use that in this Let's Resin, the really big storage bowl mold that they have. And we're going to use some teal colors and some white, and we're just going to try something. Now, I know you don't need deep pour resin with this particular mold because it's got very thin walls on it. But I wanted to see something. I've been playing with some effects lately using the resin and mica powders, pigment paste, and all of that good stuff. I want to try that again today, but I want to try it with using the deep pour resin. So part of the whole purpose, like when you're doing it, is you want the movement, right? And if you use a fast cure resin, you're not going to get as much movement because it cures faster than you would if you use just regular epoxy resin, right? Well, along those same lines, I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll get even more movement if I use a deep pour resin instead. Now, deep pour resin typically takes 2 to 3 days, depending on how big your piece is, how thick it is, the conditions of your house, temperature, humidity, all of that, just all of the things, right? Just the same with epoxy resin, but this takes like double the time. It's super, super thin, like watery thin, as you can see as I'm mixing it up here. Did put this in my debubbler machine because I went crazy on it and mixed it like insanely fast. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to split this up into 5 of my disposable cups and then keep some in this big cup, and we're gonna do some things, okay? So my thought process is I want to do some glass. I want to do some glitter. I want to do some of the Let's Resin Ocean White pigment paste, some Unicorn crushed crystal in for my with my clear, and two different colors of like teal-ish alcohol inks. Now, hindsight, I kind of wish I would have done a mica instead of one of the alcohol inks, but it's fine. It's fine. Just because, okay, when you are trying to get movement and you're trying to get different designs and all of that stuff in your epoxy, the weight of each different type of thing that you're using makes a difference. So you have your clear, that's going to allow some of it's going to help with some of the movement, like for your drag and scale, your crackle effect, stuff like that. The mica powder weighs a certain amount. The pigment paste is heavier typically than the mica powder, unless you put like a crap ton of mica powder in. And then you have your alcohol inks or your dyes or stuff like that that's very liquidy, that's not going to weigh a lot, right? So it's the different weights of each thing that are going to also cause to sink, to go below, to give that kind of pillowy effect, just different things. And you've got to kind of play around to see what's going to do what to what, if that makes sense. So I kind of wish for that reason I used a mica powder, but it's whatever. All right, so I poured my clear with my Unicorn crushed crystal in the bowl already, just so it could start kind of moving, and I have a base to pour this other stuff onto. And I'm mixing up all my colors. Now, I did add a little bit of clear resin to my glass, and that's just to kind of help move it along and kind of put it down where I want it. The glass, what I really want with that is just to kind of sink and go along the rim of this bowl. Everything else I'm going to use for movement and effects. And we'll see how this works, if it works. But see, I don't know. I don't know. Because it's going to have twice the amount of time technically to move then it may just all become one huge just color, just one color, right? It very well could. I don't know. That's kind of what I want to play with today. Now, I dumped a bunch of glitter in there. I mean, I packed it full of glitter. My alcohol inks, I put about 10 drops in each one to get the color that I wanted. I kind of checked it on the baby wipe that I'm using just to see how intense the color is, because you can't really tell in your cup what it's going to be because it's so deep. And then for my white, I am going with the kind of like the look of milk, like full milk. Like I don't want to necessarily see the stick, but I don't want to put too much in it either, if that makes sense. All right, so first things first, I want to get my glass in around the edge, and I'm just kind of putting it along the edge of the bowl and just kind of pushing it down and letting it slowly just fall down to the bottom and do its thing. Like I said, I've already have a bunch of resin in here. I did not fill it up completely, as you can see, because it's pulling away. There's not enough resin in there. I didn't fill it up because I want to do a push with it to push some of those colors so that they start falling down the sides of the bowl. I don't want to go in and tweak it too much. Like, I want it to kind of do it naturally almost, but I am going to give it the push that it needs. Now, I do want the bottom part of this bowl covered because I don't want anything just stuck directly to the silicone when I pour these colors in. I want it to be able to move. And then it's also going to help me get the rest of the glass that's remaining down there too. All right, first up, let's go in with our glitters. Now, this, I know I'm going in kind of sparsely with it. I don't want it to overtake it. I have a lot of glitter in here, but this is super, super thin resin. It can very easily overtake all of this. So I'm kind of just squiggly lining it in here. Same thing with the alcohol ink. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to hit it with my white and do the same thing. And we're just kind of putting lines in here, putting just some design in here. It doesn't matter. It's not going to stay, but I'm kind of layering it. If you can see, now I'm going in with my clear and I'm going to give it a push with the rest of that clear, and it's just going to kind of move and push some of that down towards the bottom just a little bit without going crazy. Now I'm going around just kind of tapping it just to help it a little bit, and if there's any bubbles in there to kind of encourage them to come up to the top. And now we're going to do this again. Now I don't have much left in the way of clear, so we're not going to be able to do another push like this, which is fine. It is going to pull in towards the center as it cures. That's another reason why I wanted to give it that little push, because I don't want it all in the center. So if I push it down towards the bottom, I'm going to get some movement going down the sides of the bowl, and it's going to help with that. So when it pulls in towards the middle to cure, it's not all gonna pull towards the middle. Like, I'm gonna have some of that color going around the sides. I did kind of squiggle my lines out a little bit so I don't have any blobs of white that are gonna fall. I anticipate the white on sinking a lot more than any of the others colors because it is heavy. Okay, so here we are. Now this is all nice and cured, and we are going to demold it now and see what we got going on. And you can already see, you can see some movement in there, and in the glamour shots I will get a couple close-ups, some different areas of the bowl, but there is a lot of movement. It is really, really pretty. Like, it's super pretty just on its own. That glass kind of sank to the bottom. I didn't use too much so it's not overpowering, and you can just see the movements of that white and the glitter and the alcohol inks and just all of the things. I think it turned out really pretty, but I'm not done yet. I want to put one of these scrapbook papers on the bottom of the bowl. This is going to be a gift for my daughter for her birthday. Her birthday is tomorrow. So, my oldest daughter, not Emma. And her favorite color is teal, which is why we're doing this. So I thought that one of these would look just really, really pretty in here. And they kind of just happen to be along the same lines as it. So I'm going to kind of figure out which one I think works the best for what we've got going on. There's so many gorgeous, gorgeous images in these. I mean, they are just absolutely beautiful. And I think you get like 10 different images and you get 3 of each in these little packets. While I'm kind of picking out which one, for those of you that don't know, in every video, I list in the video description box everything that I use, and I have links to each one. Now, I do get a very, very tiny little commission for anything that you purchase that when you click one of my links, but I do spend a lot of time researching these links for you guys so that if you see something that you like, you don't have to try and find it. It's right there at your fingertips. So all you got to do is hit the little more button underneath the video description, like the title, and it'll take you and list all of my links for each video, and I have every one of my discount codes for every brand that I'm affiliated with so that you guys can save money. Just putting that out there because I've had a lot of you who are asking me where do I get it from. So if you don't know, everything, as long as I have a link for it and I can find it and it's not something that's been discontinued, I've got it listed below. Like I will search. I spend more time probably looking for links for you guys than I do editing my videos, which is insane. Anyway, back to the video. So I put a layer of Mod Podge down and I am just going over top of it. Now, in the last video or the one before that, when I did this and I was like, this is the easiest way to do it. And it absolutely 100% is. And I never had an issue up until this piece right here. And it is 100% my fault. When I was putting the Mod Podge down on the bottom, I did not do a very good job making sure that the bottom was completely covered. And I could tell that there are certain areas that it wasn't sticking, and I just kind of I fixed it to a point and then I just ignored it after a while, and that turned around and bit me in the ass. The reason I'm saying this is this technique does work 100% of the time if you do it right. So as long as your piece, whatever image you're putting in there is 100% covered with Mod Podge on the bottom and on the top and around all of your edges, you will be fine and you will not get resin leaking up underneath of it. Now, up that top corner where that bird is, there is a very small area where the resin did seep in, and I don't know if it's from me wiping off the excess that was on the bowl or if I just didn't get enough Mod Podge either on the edges or underneath or whatever, but I did get a little bit of seepage in there. So make sure that when you do this, you do it really well. Put a nice good coat on, not crazy thick. It doesn't need to be crazy thick, but it does need to be completely 100,000% covered so that you don't have an issue. Now I'm just going in with some normal Bond Crafter epoxy with a little bit of my Unicone crushed crystal just to top coat this. I'm going to take my dotting tool and go around all the way around the edges of this just to make sure that it's kind of evenly touching all of the sides of the bottom of this bowl. And then I'm popping it in my curing machine for 3 hours and it'll be done. That's pretty much it, guys. That's a wrap on this one. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I will see you guys on Thursday in the next one. Love ya. Bye.
Together we belong. In every comment right, you lift me to new heights. Your support, it's clear, gives me reason to cheer. Blue